Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Donna Sharpe with Donna Sharpe Worldwide and also Holistic Retreats. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening. Just wanted to make sure my volume was up. Thank you for joining me here this evening on day 369. I trust that you guys are on your way and ready for what this wonderful new year has to offer. I am just very delighted by the fact that so many people are planning. Hello, Miss Patrice, how are you? Thank you for joining. So many people are on their way to planning how to create some changes. Hello, Reggie, how are you? Thanks for joining. So many people are on track for 2020. They're speaking health, they're speaking wellness. I just had to laugh because I went to the gym this evening, and when I tell you there was not almost any free elliptical or treadmill, I just smiled as I walked through there. But I'm thankful that these individuals are making the choice to step in that direction. But here's the thing that I'd like to encourage you to do as this year starts and it begins to progress ahead, is that there's consistency involved. Consistency really, really will lend itself to achieving many goals that so many of us have that we aspire to complete, right? But so many start and so many never completes the process. So my encouragement to you would be to make sure that if you have set these New Year's resolutions that you know I don't like, that I would just encourage you to make sure that you're on track to following the right routines in order to accomplishing that. All right. So this evening, what I'm going to be speaking on is owning your power. Owning your power. All right. And I'm taking a couple of excerpts from a book that's called You Own the Power, and it's by Rosemary Altia. All right. So I'm going to touch on 3 points and elaborate on it just a little bit. And if you find that some of these items were beneficial to you, then by all means take notes or share this live with someone else, or whatever the case is. Sometimes, when you go along your journey, you will often hear about something from someone or someplace that you never. Hello, Erica, thank you for joining. You'll often hear something from someone or someplace, or embark on a journey that you never heard before. So the only way, this is my opinion, the only way that you are going to heighten your awareness and also strengthen your mind is by taking those nuggets and scribing it in your mind, as long as they're good nuggets. Remember, you want to make sure you're getting valuable source of information and just not information from the person on the corner, all right? So scribe it in your mind so that you can check something off on your list that says, you know what, I always wondered about that. Now I understand better about it. I want to do additional research, and you're moving on to something new. But when you don't add anything new of value in your life on a regular basis, then you're going to remain stagnant. You're going to wonder, how come I haven't grown to a different level? How come I'm still where I am 4 years ago, right? And that's because you're not taking these wonderful information and just embedding it, and meshing it, weaving it into your own life. You can take it and do with it however it pleases you and however it matches your lifestyle. You don't necessarily have to do whatever that person is doing, all right? But as long as it's trusted information, and as far as I'm concerned, if it's something that's scribed from the Bible and from Christ and from God, you're on the right track, all right? So I'm going to talk about owning your power tonight from, as I mentioned, I'm touching a couple of things from this book. And the 3 points that I'm going to speak to you on is understanding, the first one is understanding your inner self. How many of you understand who you are, how you're made up, what things make you tick, what things don't make you tick, what things you may need to incorporate to enhance your way of living? How many of you know yourself, right? The second thing is having faith. I truly believe that faith is it should be the number one thing at the top of all of our lists. all right, having faith, because so many of us lose patience along our journey that we're trying to, I'm going to touch on the third point, which is exactly this, is seeking a miracle, right? Believing in the impossible. So these 3 points, I'm just going to just touch on them very briefly, and as I mentioned, some of the information comes from the book, but then there's a lot of it that I also have on my own, from myself. So take it, and I do pray that this is going to, again, add value to your life. So the first thing is owning your power, learning the art of incorporating those activities that enhances who you are, such as relaxation, meditation. Those are just 2 examples. So what are the activities that right now you are missing that you feel can enhance the person that you are? Are you just following life status quo every day? You're going to work, you're coming home, you're cooking, you're eating, you're going to sleep. Or you're trying to add something new along your journey that's going to, number one, take you in a direction that you're headed, right? In terms of your career, in terms of your spiritual growth, right? In terms of your physical being. Or are you just going to stay exactly where you are and say, you know what, this is good, I'm comfortable. Because remember, as long as you are comfortable, you're going to stay exactly in the position that you are. All right? If you never make yourself feel very uncomfortable and like, I'm not liking this, this is a lot of work, or whatever the case is, if you're not saying those kinds of things, then I would just ask you to question yourself as to the progress that you're making towards improving a step for some category in your life, whatever that may be. All right? So power often comes with the misconception of something such as aggression, right? Or rule. Someone's a ruler. Someone's powerful. There's someone that's going to take control of somebody else, right? It's almost like that virtuous woman that says, I'm not going to give my husband the satisfaction of even telling me what to do or ruling me, right? So when people think of power, they often place it in the context of some of these things, and that's not often true. All right, when we think of power, sometimes we think of president, right, a principal of a school, or we may think of a king or someone in a higher power, and we look to them as though, you know, how did they get there, or I could never be that, or, you know, what is it that I have to do? But understand that you have your own power and your own rights. You don't necessarily have to be a king or, you know, a ruler, a prince, a president of a country. You don't have to do any of those things to not deem that you have the power necessary to push ahead your own journey, because we're all traveling on our own journey, right? So we all have the ability to move mountain, especially when it's associated with faith. I'm a big faith walker. I've done some things sometimes people look at me and just shake their head like, oh my goodness, Donna, I can't believe it, right? But for so many years, I've walked on faith. That's all I ever trusted. I know that God has my back. I know that that invisible spirit is right next to me. Times that I sometimes don't even understand. I know he's there, and I'm going to continue to trust him, because the one thing I found is when I place my trust in man, I'm always disappointed every single time, because man is trying to learn. You're trying to understand. So why am I going to deviate from what the word says, right, when there's all the truth that's there? So I'm going to trust him, right? There's a song that just came to my mind. You guys probably are familiar with it. It says, trust and obey. Trust and obey. To be happy in Jesus, just to trust and obey, right? So keep your faith strong by staying in the Word and understanding that whatever your journey looks like, understand that there is a point to be mentioned in the book, the #1 seller in the world, the Bible, right? So you don't have to go to any self-help book or none of that stuff. Every single thing you need is right there in the Word. So, but however, we're prepared to live outside of our normal expectations, right? Are you prepared to live outside of the box, or are you going to stay comfortable exactly where you are? I just mentioned that if you're intended on growing, you want to make sure that you kind of step outside of your zone so that you can kind of feel the heat, because then you know you'll be in the right direction. So understand who you are, understand your capabilities. You are more than capable of doing any single thing that you see anyone else that you admire or aspire to be. right? Remember, they started from somewhere, right? They put their pants on one leg at a time, just the same way that you do. But never just look beyond or look at them and say, you know what, man, I just wish I was there. Sometimes you don't want to wish you're somewhere that somebody else is, because number one, you don't know what their journey is. Number two, you don't know what they're encountering. It might be something you don't even want to deal with. So don't be envious of where they are, but work on taking the steps necessary to move to that next level that you aspire to be, right? So understand your capabilities, push past your comfort zone, those comfort points, right? Stop staying stagnant. You know what happens to a lake when the lake is stagnant, right? It starts to grow green fungi or fungus, whatever you want to call that. And it just starts to look very, what's the word? It just doesn't look good, right? Everything surfaces to the top. There's no circulation. There's no oxygen moving through that. There's nothing happening. So you don't want to be like that lake that has all the green fungus all over it, right? So push past all those comfort points so that you can start to step into a new progression of where it is that you'd like to be in life. Now, the second part of this is believing the impossible, right? Now, first of all, let me go back to faith. Let's go back to faith now for the second point. So a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. That is the definition of faith. I'm going to read that again. It says a strong belief in God or in doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. All right. A second definition of that is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Right? Having faith. So when you have faith in something or someone, what happens? What happens? As I mentioned in one of the lives just recently, I think there's a song that says, Jesus take the wheel, right? Sometimes you feel like all your strength has gone. And that's when we're looking down and we're not looking up, right? We have to make sure that we're looking up at God and not looking straight ahead in front of us, because again, we're going to face those disappointments that we never thought we would encounter. So always look to Christ. Faith really, really requires you to have, you just have to have a solid back for faith, because you're literally walking out. Just imagine, if you can, a lake, right? You don't know the depth of the lake. And you just walk straight out, just trusting that you're going to go to that halfway point, but you don't know where it's going to drop off, right? So that's strong, strong faith. You're just walking, trusting that you're going to be held up and supported along the way, right? Faith is making those decisions that it doesn't seem good right now, but you're in your mind, you're questioning things, but at the same point, you know, if I make this move, or if it's something that I was nudged to do, you know that God has your back. And when you make that move, He's going to take care of all the rest. So faith is a very, very powerful thing, guys. Very, very powerful things. And I would encourage you to really stick your head more into the Word and understand what that all means, what that looks like, because there's many promises that God has made to us, and He always fulfills His promise. So don't be discouraged and have faith in all of the things that you are aspiring to do. And the third point is believing in the impossible. Right, coupled with faith, faith has no shortcuts. So I don't know if you feel that you want someone to go and just give you the magic pill, or just snap your finger and the thing is going to magically resurface and everything is just going to happen, right? That's not how life takes place, especially when you have faith involved, right? Now, in the secular world, you can do all kind of things out there. You can go to all kind of people and talk to them, and have them do whatever they need to do to tell you something that you feel you want to hear, but that's not how this works. You can't take shortcut on this journey, right? You have to make sure that you're holding your ground, staying grounded, and incorporating some of the things I spoke about earlier in terms of meditation and relaxation and understanding your inner self and who you are, so that you know by doing these regular regimens every day, you're keeping your mind along with your spirit balanced and engaged and grounded, so that when that message does come from God, you'll be able to hear it very clearly and distinguish if it's something of Him or something that's not of Him. All right? It's truly a journey of patience and trust. When you're having faith, you can't just, again, it's not an overnight thing. Understanding the power of your thoughts will definitely give you more clarity. When things are muddled and your mind just doesn't seem like it's working right, it's very important that you sit still, all right, and just wipe the table clean, because sometimes you have so many things coming at you, so many energies coming at you. You have so many opinions from different people, many things. You have all the infomercials. If you guys are TV rats, which I encourage you not to be, you're not going to grow from that. You have so many things coming at you. So when do you sit still and just wipe the slate clean so you can hear from God? Something to think about, right? When you encapsulate yourself and allow other things to not get into your space, and that's when you'll get a clearer vision of exactly what you're intending to do, and you'll also see the manifestation of your thought process. All right, so get engaged, get connected, get grounded, and also get aligned. That's a very big thing. And alignment is just a huge thing when it comes to starting with the spirit first, with God, and grounding yourself down to everything else that everyone can see to the naked eye, right? So we're in our power by the process of thought energy, but we don't believe ourselves to be strong enough or feel that we are good enough, right? So we have to make sure that we understand that regardless of who we are capable and have the willpower to do whatever it is that you can ever aspire to do. So I want to read something to you from her book here, and it talks about, it's under the category of releasing stress and finding peace. What a great way to do that. I don't know how many people actually, before the year started, really grounded themselves to get in a good space before they actually put the pen to the paper and create the action plan that I spoke about for 7 days. But I feel that that's super important, all right? So I'm going to read a little short thing here to you. There are countless reasons why we begin the journey, and it is for many of us the results of personal tragedy or life-changing and traumatic events that leads us to pose the question, what is it all about? The it, of course, is life. Then there is the more personal question, what is my life all about? That's when the search begins, and we take our first steps towards spiritual enlightenment, understanding our position in Christ, understanding our beliefs and things like that, right? So there's also another section here I just want to read to you real quick. It says that when I talked about the third section about believing in the impossible, understand that no one out there is a magician, and they're not going to just magically recreate your life. You really have to have patience in the things that you do. This was the one day I must let go, trust, and understand that whatever beliefs I have, as long as I'm staying grounded, everything is going to line up just the way it's supposed to be. So as we travel together on this journey, it is easy to be overwhelmed by the desire to know everything, try everything, all at once. We are excited, passionate, eager, rather like an adolescent approaching sex. This is what she has here. It is new and wonderful, but requires us to be discriminated and to take precautions. So we have rules or guidelines for our own sake. We want to own our own power, to know what that means, what it feels like. Also, we want to get the best from our experiences, and so it is important that we take the journey slowly, one step at a time. So guys, I encourage you this evening just to take a moment to understand who you are. The one thing I see that's very discouraging to me is people that are led around like an animal on a leash. So many people don't have their thought process down packed to the point that they can clearly say yes or clearly say no. They're being led by others, and they're not being guided by God. And so they are torn this direction, that direction, they're doing this, they're going that, they're doing all kinds of things. But when it comes to getting grounded and really understand what journey they're on, it becomes confusing, it becomes muddled, because there's no clear direction. and they're allowing everything else to pull them 10,000 different ways. So where does that stress come from? Where does that confusion come from? It comes from just that. So I would encourage you this evening just to take a moment to understand that you are a very powerful person. You have many capabilities, and you have more gifts than you can ever imagine. You just have to identify those gifts and get those gifts ready, birth them, because someone is waiting, guys. Someone is waiting on the gift that you have. They're waiting patiently, and if you don't birth that gift, you're going to go straight to the grave with it, and you'll never have a chance to share it with them. All right? So I pray that this was beneficial to you this evening. Just wanted to take you guys in a whole different direction, just to get a clear understanding of who you are. That's super, super important. And if you don't understand who you are and you're interested in speaking more to me, you certainly can. You can message me at any time. But again, as I said, if you feel that this was definitely beneficial to you, I offer you to share it with someone else in your circle that you feel could have heard the message. It's like when you go to church and the pastor preach about something and you go, man, the pastor really preaching to me tonight, right? But it was just your time to hear that message. So likewise, please share this with someone else you feel needs to hear this tonight, because believe it or not, we're starting a brand new year, but still there's many people that are very discouraged, very disheartened. They're under a lot of stress. They're going through a lot. They've suffered losses in their family, and my heart goes out to those people, not the ones that are, you see, they're always smiling and chippery and happy. I understand that, I get it, but we have to also make room for those people that are not as fortunate as we are. So my name is Donna Sharpe with Donna Sharpe Worldwide and Holistic Retreats. You can always find some additional information about me on my website. It's on donnasharpeworldwide.com. And if that just wasn't enough, you can feel free to message me at any time. I'll be happy to converse with you. Outside of that, please understand that very shortly I'll be moving to a different platform. I'll keep you all posted. Should you desire to continue following me, I would be delighted. Outside of that, I will be back again here, which tomorrow, day 370, to speak to you and with you a little bit more on some exciting topics that I feel will be beneficial and add some additional value and nuggets into your life. So Erica, thank you so much for joining. Mr. Reggie, it's great to see you. Patrice Wright, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for joining. And if this is your first time joining me, I am a holistic and wellness transformational coach. Outside of that, I'll be back on here tomorrow to speak with you. I do pray and trust that you have a fantastic evening. All right? So until then, sleep well and think about some of the things that I spoke about this evening. Ciao.